Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Friday, one day before Arsenal travel to Villa Park, trying to get themselves back to winning ways after that defeat against Liverpool on Wednesday. Lunchtime kickoff tomorrow, obviously at Villa Park. Always looked like a tricky game, this one. Going to be very interesting to see how Arsenal respond to the disappointment of losing on Wednesday night. Mikel Arteta has been speaking ahead of that game against Villa. He's been doing a press conference this morning from London Colney. First of all, just a quick disclaimer, I'm not going to be at Villa tomorrow. It's my son's 6th birthday. So just as Arsenal are kicking off, I'm going to be running around trying to keep my eye on about 30 mad 6-year-olds legging it around a soft play during a birthday party, which is going to be crazy. So no work for me this weekend. I got the weekend off, so apologies for that. If you're looking around waiting for my updates, that sort of thing, there won't be any this weekend. I might do a video on Sunday if I get time, sort of reflecting on hopefully what will be a win at Villa Park, so keep your eyes peeled for that. That might come if I can manage to squeeze it in, but in terms of match coverage tomorrow, I won't be around, so apologies. The usual stuff, the player ratings, the live broadcast before the game, all my stuff on Twitter and Facebook, that won't be around, so apologies for that. Okay, so yeah, press conference. Mikel Arteta, like I said, has been speaking ahead of that Villa game. Quite a few things covered. He talked about the comments that he made on Wednesday night when he complained about the fixture schedule. He talked about team news, talked about Villa, Steven Gerrard, all the usual sort of stuff, and England as well. Arsenal having 4 England players called up to the England squad, which is great news. But we'll start with team news. That's the big news, really. That's what a lot of people are interested in ahead of the game against Villa Park. To be honest, it's pretty similar to what it's been for a fair while now. No real concerns other than Tomiyasu, according to Mikel, unless he's keeping anything under wraps. On Tomiyasu, he was asked, is he going to be able to play? And he said, there is a chance, but we don't know. Again, today in training, we'll have a look and see how he's feeling. He was asked why it's taken him so long to get back to fitness. And he said, because he had a recurring injury around the same place. And then obviously after that, you have to be a little bit more cautious sometimes. I don't think Tomiyasu would be involved. Like I said it earlier on in the week, if he's still struggling, if you're still not absolutely sure, you're not going to suddenly throw him back into action against Villa Park on Saturday, just before an international break, when you've basically got another 2 weeks at London Colney where you can look after him, get him better. He's not going away with Japan, that's clear. He's not been included in their squad. That means he's going to be around here for another 2 weeks. So if there's any worry, if there's any need to be cautious, like nearly called him Wenger there, like Arteta is saying, then you don't take any risk, do you, on Saturday? Cedric's been playing well enough to have even been called up to the Portugal squad, which is fantastic news for Cedric. So you just keep him in, don't you? You don't take a risk with Tomiyasu. So I'd be very, very surprised. Elsewhere on team news, he was asked, is there any other anything else going on? He said no news. Yesterday we just recovered after the game. Today we will have a training session, see how everybody is. He was asked about Smith Rowe, who again didn't start at the weekend. On Wednesday night, and he said he was fine again. He had a little issue before the game, but he's been fine the past few days. So hopefully now he can get some consistency and momentum. Something good news, really, I suppose, when it comes to Arsenal. Again, just that Tomiyasu, which is annoying. We want Tomiyasu back. Cedric's done a decent job, no doubt about it. Fair play to him, but we want Tomiyasu back. Hopefully that will happen after the international break, and then he can have a consistent run of games for the final 10 games of the season, because there's no doubt Arsenal are a stronger team when Tomiyasu is involved. So, as I said, I can't see he is going to be starting against Villa. I just don't see it. Even if he's involved in the squad, he gets named on the bench, something like that, perhaps, but to throw him straight into starting 11, I'd be very surprised. So I'm fully expecting to see Cedric line up at right back again tomorrow. There's a lot of debate about who might start. I mean, the fact that Mikel's been making these comments about the fixture schedule, does that mean he's worried, very worried about player welfare and fitness and the potential of picking up injuries? Does that mean he'll make a lot of changes to the game on Saturday, which is, of course, Arsenal's 3rd in the space of just 6 days? Played late on Wednesday night, early Saturday morning. That's what the crux of his argument is about when he talks about the fixture scheduling. But to be honest, I still think I'm going to be surprised if he makes big changes. I still think he'll go pretty much with the team that we've seen for the last couple of games. I just don't really see him making wholesale changes for this one. Not right just before the international break. Unless, you know, the medical department have flagged up that a certain couple of players are in the red zone. I do think that Bukayo Saka has potentially looked a little bit tired recently. I thought that against Liverpool, he looked a threat certainly early on against Liverpool. That sort of ball in over Andrew Robertson looked like that could be a way in for Arsenal and Saka, but he kind of faded out the game, and I think he's just looked a little bit tired, which is no surprising because he's played so many minutes this season. So you do wonder, is there an option there? You know, would he be tempted to bring Nicolas Pepe in from the start for this one? If he's going to do it, I suggest this might be the game that he would, because of the amount of game fixtures Arsenal squeezed into such a short space of time. I don't think he will, but you know, that's got to be something that's got to be in his mind potentially. Emil Smith-Rowe as well, he's been on the bench recently, but the thing is with Smith-Rowe at the moment, who do you bring him in for? You don't really play him on the right. I think if you're going to take Saka out, then you're going to play it would be Pepe who comes in for him. So where do you play Smith-Rowe at the moment? Do you play him on the left-hand side? I don't think you do, just because Gabby's playing really, really well, and he was so good against Liverpool on Wednesday night, albeit without scoring. And I don't think you play him in place of Odegaard at the moment. I know Odegaard was quiet against Liverpool, but I don't think that was down to Odegaard being poor. I think it was down to Fabinho being absolutely brilliant and Thiago being absolutely brilliant and really nullifying space. So I don't really see a way in for Emil at the moment. I'd be surprised. Let's put it that way. I mean, there is maybe an option of playing Gabby as a central striker, Emil on the left, but I don't see that. I still think Lacazette starts on Saturday. So I just think it's going to be as you were, really, when it comes to the starting 11. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think this is the time for him to make changes? Do you want to see Mikel sort of shake things up a little bit for this game against Villa? Let me know, what do you think what their starting 11 should be? Just drop your opinions, your comments in the comment box below. Obviously, Mikel's comments on Wednesday night after the game caused quite a bit of a stir. I spoke about him on yesterday's video. I've done a piece on it, actually, that's going live on Goal at 3 o'clock, so keep your eyes peeled for that, kind of looking at the comments and whether or not he has a point. I mean, I spoke about it in yesterday's video, saying that I was surprised he did it. I thought, you know, he's usually so cool and calm, and he kind of let his emotions get the better of him, I thought, a little bit on Wednesday night. He's definitely got a point. There's no doubt about that. The fact that Arsenal play Wednesday night late in the Premier League and then early Saturday lunchtime in the Premier League is stupid. There's no reason for it. It's ridiculous. It could be easily avoided. It's just down to the TV. It's just down to the Premier League. They could have stopped it. Now, obviously, Arteta's taken a fair bit of flack for his comments. Everyone saying, oh, you know, that's what happens if you're in Europe. You do it all the time. Now, he sort of clarified those comments at today's press conference. This is what he said. He said, he was asked, do you stand by them? And he said, I do, because I'm talking about the Premier League. I heard some comments about me and saying when you're in Europe, it's nothing new. And it is nothing new to me. But I'm not comparing this to Europe. I'm comparing this to the Premier League and how we're scheduling games in the Premier League. When you're in Europe, it's a different story. What I'm comparing is the Premier League, and it's very different. So he's basically saying there, look, I know if it's in the Premier, if we had a game on Wednesday night in Europe and then a game on Saturday in the Premier League, then that's what it is. That just comes with the territory. What his big complaint is that this is Premier League to Premier League, so it's easily avoided. It's just a Wednesday night game in domestic, Saturday lunchtime game domestic. So he's saying that this is nothing to do with Europe. I wouldn't be complaining if it was Europe, because that's just the way it is. But this is easily avoidable because it's a Premier League. It's their own scheduling, and they're the ones who are forcing us to do this. Not just once, but twice, with the game against Chelsea and Man United coming up when it's a similar situation, well, the same situation next month. So he sort of doubled down a little bit on those comments today, and fair play to him. He's clearly got his view. He's clearly not happy about it, and he wants to vent those frustrations, and he has vented it. You know, whether it was worth it, I mean, I've said my piece yesterday. I think personally, probably not. Could have kind of kept his counsel on this one, complained behind the scenes, because it's just opened him up to a little bit of ridicule, really. He probably doesn't care, but it has. But he clearly felt, I mean, he's a very clever man, Arteta. He wouldn't have come out and said this without thinking about it. He obviously wanted his opinion out there, and that's why he decided to say it. Again, for me, I think he probably would have been better off just staying quiet and complaining behind the scenes, but he decided to go this way, and fair play to him, and he certainly doubled down on it. Today, he kind of spoke about also his concerns over the Tottenham game, because that hasn't been rescheduled yet. We know that's going to happen at some point. And if it does happen, he's worried that, again, it's going to end up being a Wednesday night, Saturday lunchtime. And I think maybe what he's doing now is getting his complaints out there so that when the Premier League do take the final decision on when the Tottenham game's going to be, they're going to kind of have his comments ringing around in their ears. And that might, and they might decide, okay, we won't do it again. So maybe that's why Mikel is doing this very sort of public power play almost with his anger on it. And that's why he doesn't care about other people having a pot shot at him and open him up to a little bit of ridicule, because he's got this in mind. And like I said, he's a very clever man, so that might well be why he has decided to do this. Do you agree with him or not? Again, let me know if you agree with me or if you agree with Mikel. Drop your comments below. 4 players in England squad. Been a long time since Arsenal have had that. I think they're the joint most represented club in the England squad this time. Ben White is back in. Absolutely nailed on. Deserved it. It would have been ridiculous if Ben White wasn't in this England squad. So he's in. Aaron Ramsdale's in. Bukayo Saka in, and Emil Smith-Rowe. I wondered if Emil would be in it, given he's not played that much recently because of injury and COVID and everything like that, and he's not really been in the starting 11, but he clearly made a big impression on Gareth Southgate when he joined up with England last time, which is not surprising because he's a top quality player. So that's good news. Looking forward to those England games. As I said, Cedric Soares also got his call up. Good reward for his form. He's back in the Portugal squad, and Gabriel Martinelli, as I spoke about a few videos ago, will be heading off with Gabriel for the Brazil national team, which is great news for Gabby. So Villa on Wednesday, Saturday lunchtime. Mikel was asked an awful lot about that, spoke a lot about it in his press conference. He was asked about Gerrard and the job he's doing and how kind of similar routes they're taking from as a young man going from player to manager. He was obviously full of praise for the job that Gerrard is doing. He was also asked about Coutinho, which is quite interesting. I mean, Coutinho's been great since he's gone to Villa, hasn't he? I really want to put Coutinho in my fantasy team. But I don't want to do it before the game against Arsenal because I'll be fuming if he scores. I don't care about points if he scores against Arsenal. But Coutinho is a player who's been linked with Arsenal so much. His agent's obviously Kia Jarabchin, who has the Arsenal links, and he's always been linked with a move to Arsenal. Every time that it's ever linked, whenever I speak to anyone at Arsenal about it, they've always said, nah, it's not happening. But he was asked about it, you know, was he a player you're interested in? And he said, we looked at many different players with quality that obviously he has, but in the end we went in with a different option. Again, I can only say what I've always been told when people ask me about Coutinho and Arsenal's interest in him. And for me, it's just always been one that's not going to happen. And obviously he's at Villa now. He goes back to Barcelona at the end of the season. Could it be something that Arsenal revisit in the summer? Again, I highly doubt it. He's done well, no doubt about it. He's a very good player, but I don't think he'll be coming to Arsenal anytime soon. Right, so before I go, let's quickly end, as usual, ahead of a match with the predicted 11 for yesterday. I've kind of covered it earlier on in this video anyway with what I've been talking about. I don't think there's going to be too many changes. Yes, it's the third game in 6 days. Yes, Mikel might be tempted to do a couple of things, maybe rest up a couple of players, especially Saka, someone like that. But I just got a feeling he's going to go with the same side that we've seen in the last 2 games, and Arsenal are going to be unchanged. So I think Martinelli's going to keep his place. I think Saka's probably going to keep his place. Odegaard, Lacazette. I just can't see any changes really, despite the demanding schedule that they've been on. Tomiyasu is obviously the one wild card. If he is fit, if he is deemed fit after a few training sessions this week, would Mikel throw him back in? I've said my piece on that. I think it'd be a risk. I'd be very surprised. I think you stick with Cedric, given his match fitness, given how sharp he is at the moment. He's very, he's in tune with everyone else. He's been playing a lot of football. So why take the risk? I'd be, I think my predicted 11, I'm going unchanged. So I'm going Ramsdale in goal, Cedric, Gabriel, Ben White, Kieran Tierney, Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey, Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, Gabriel Martinelli and Alexander Lacazette, and then the usual suspects on the substitutes bench. Let me know if you agree with that. Is that the 11 you would go for? Is that the one you're expecting the Mikel to go for? Or would you make a raft of changes? Would you bring Pepe in? Would you bring Emil Smith-Rowe back in? Let me know as always. Thank you very much for your time today. Appreciate it as always. Have a very good end to your week. Enjoy your Friday. Fingers crossed, enjoy tomorrow and that match, and we see Arsenal get back on track. Remember, once again, as I said earlier on, I'm not going to be there, so my usual match coverage is not going to be happening this Saturday because I am going to be spending time with my son, who is 6 tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone. I'll speak to you soon.